Conspiracy is a word that draws forward images of assassinations, political espionage, and hiding information from the general public. And the phrase urban legend doesn't always elicit fear from someone who hears it. Maybe instead of thinking about the dreaded clown statue in the bedroom or the Bunny Man Bridge, they think of local legends that are popular to tell amongst teenagers, something that may not be super scary. But a very pervasive conspiracy theory, urban legend, and popular folkloric belief is in that of ghosts. Spirits of dead people who have since passed on to the next life or have failed to do so and are now stuck here on Earth. Either spirits with unfinished business or spirits that like to move plates around in a cabinet, I guess. Why would a ghost peer down a long dark hallway or kick a ball across a room when it has very important business it needs to be attending to? And in that same vein, why would a ghost spend the rest of eternity, the rest of its existence, at Disneyland, riding Space Mountain over and over again until Judgment Day? Your guess, honestly, is as good as mine. Although Space Mountain is a very fun ride, so I can see why you'd want to spend a very long time on there. Eternity? Though, I'm not too sure. Today, we dive deep into the paranormal side of Disney. And I'm not necessarily just talking the Haunted Mansion, even though, I could, for hours. So join me, shall you, as we call in the spirits wherever they're at, and discuss ghost sightings at the happiest place on Earth, Disneyland. Now, just because Tomorrowland carries grand visions of the future that could be, doesn't mean necessarily that it doesn't contain memories from the past. Memories of a long-forgotten Disneyland that existed in ages past, and of course we're talking about Mr. Oneway. You see, at Disneyland, there are legends of a spirit that haunts Space Mountain, and if you're exceptionally lucky, you may get to ride the attraction with him. Next time you're riding single rider at Space Mountain, whenever that may be, look to your right or to your left if you're in the right seat, and you may see a man with red hair sitting alongside next to you. Now, I'm not saying every person with red hair who rides single rider on Space Mountain is an ethereal spirit, but the only ghost in Space Mountain is one with red hair that rides single rider. Your partner for this voyage through outer space may not be who you think. Space Mountain in California is infamous for having its very own resident ghost, probably one of the 999 haunts who escaped from the Haunted Mansion. This ghost is named Mr. Oneway, not like the space traveler or the lonesome astronaut. It's not something that would make more sense on Space Mountain. No, this is Mr. Oneway, I'm assuming because he never gets off the ride. Mr. Oneway is said to be the spirit of a man who died riding Space Mountain in the years gone by, and continues to ride on Space Mountain, the ride on which he was so untimely killed to this very day. But there's a problem with this story. No man has ever died on Space Mountain. A woman got sick and died after riding Space Mountain, but not on the ride in the park. So is this just a tall tale, or is Disney hiding the truth from all of us? Probably the first one, if I were to guess. Now, the official story of Mr. Oneway goes like this. One day, a guest waiting in line for Space Mountain struck up a conversation with a red-headed gentleman who was nice enough, but seemed a little odd because he wasn't up to date with all the recent changes Disneyland had made. Our guest was seated next to the odd red-headed man on Space Mountain, and at the end of the ride, he noticed the red-headed man had disappeared from the ride car next to him. Upon reporting his experience to a cast member, the guest was told no one had been seated next to him in the car. This incident was a likely encounter with the ghost named Mr. Oneway, who people say interacts with guests in line, rides with single riders, and even appears in the cast locker room. But here's the kicker, everybody. Mr. Oneway isn't just a legend. There is a alleged video, which you're watching right now, of Mr. Oneway riding Space Mountain. Now, if you can't see him, I'll zoom in. You see that little shimmer right there? That is the red-headed gentleman we've been talking about this entire time. Now, after watching this footage, I say make the call for yourselves. Is this a spirit endlessly riding Space Mountain for eternity, or is this just a weird camera glitch or a smudge? Either way, next time you're riding single rider and a weird man who doesn't know about Galaxy's Edge and has red hair starts chatting you up in the line, be a little bit more cautious because this guy may in fact be from beyond the veil. We now find ourselves in New Orleans Square, one of the scariest lands in all of Disneyland, and that's for good reason. It houses two of the most unnerving attractions dealing with death, Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion. This story specifically brings us to the Haunted Mansion, though. Of course, the imaginations of guests and cast members alike tend to run a little bit wild in this attraction because it's so dark and so eerie. This story is about the man with the cane. A cast member writes, I worked the Haunted Mansion in 1978. At that time, a story about the man with the cane was already circulating. I was told he would appear in an empty doom buggy in the load area Story goes, a girl was working load late one night, and they had gone down to one stretching room and the crowds were very, very light. This does not happen anymore, just in case you needed to know. I mean, I don't know, it probably does, but there's just so many people at the mansion all the time now. Anyways, only one stretching room being operational meant that there was usually a large lapse in guest in between the stretching room openings. This left the ride operator alone for a few minutes, walking the load belt, listening to that music and the sound effects, and peering into the darkness that stretched from one end of the load area to the other. One night, this hostess is working load, when, from the unload area, a doom buggy rounds the corner with a man sitting in the middle of the seat, looking very gaunt, staring straight ahead, hands resting on a cane positioned in front of him. The operator tries to make contact and say hello, but the man does not respond and instead disappears with the doom buggy as it works its way into the ride. The hostess goes to the load console, calls the unload operator on the phone to say, "Who was that you just sent to me? He wouldn't say hello." To which the unload operator responded, "I didn't send anyone around to you." They contacted their lead and all waited for the car to come out of the ride, and of course, when it did, it was empty. We were always told it was the ghost of Yale Gracie, the Imagineer who worked on the attraction. Whether this is true or not, I do not know, but I can tell you I cursed the employee who told me the story, especially on those late nights when I was alone, working the load belt, listening to that music, staring at the wallpaper staring back. This story, by the way, contributed by Michael Jamis to the Doom Buggy's Myths and Legends section. Go check it out for a more detailed explanation on this ghost story. Now, as far as I know, Yale Gracie did not walk with a cane. He might have, and he did not die at the Haunted Mansion. But this man, who was so known for his work on the spookiest attraction at the Disney parks, it wouldn't surprise me if he decided to just put his feet up and enjoy his work for as long as he wanted. So good on him if it is Yale Gracie. I'm not fully convinced it is, though. Let's move on because I have two more ghost sightings that were actually caught on tape at Disneyland. One still at the Haunted Mansion. We're not going anywhere, okay? Take a look at this security camera footage. Now, it's very famous, so you might have seen it before, but I think it bears looking at again. You can see here the glimmering shadow of what appears to be a person walking down the pathway in front of the Haunted Mansion, out between the two wrought iron gates, and then onto the promenade in front of the Rivers of America. Now, this video has been debunked by people who study videos like this for a living, but I have met cast members who swear up and down on their lives that the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland is actually haunted, and that there may be some grain of truth to this video. Whether or not this is a double exposure of a guest leaving the Haunted Mansion, or a security worker after hours, or a bona fide apparition having just gotten up that moving escalator and passing little Yoda. Now, just like Mr. Oneway, I'm going to leave this one up to you guys to decide. This is obviously an after hours video, so nobody is around. I've also seen people say that this is the ghost of Walt Disney himself walking around the park after hours, but I don't believe that one either. Walt Disney haunts the fire station in the front of the park. So if the Haunted Mansion is actually haunted, if it's really truly haunted, we'd have to rename it the Haunted Mansion, right? Because the ride is called the Haunted Mansion, and if it's actually haunted by a real ghost, it'd be the Haunted Mansion. And then since that ghost resides in the same building year-round, it would be the Haunted Mansion Holiday. So the next time you're riding the Haunted Mansion or the Haunted Mansion Holiday, keep your eyes peeled, and you may just spot a visitor from regions beyond. Although this one might not be pneumatic like all the others. Now, the wishing well on the side of Sleeping Beauty's castle is a Disneyland icon. It's an amazing little area where you can go, flick a coin into a wishing well, just like Snow White and her 7 dwarfs, who are actually part of a display behind the well. Now, this one's a bit creepy and can't be explained away the same way the Haunted Mansion one could be, because this is during operating hours, and as the camera pans up to the Snow White statue, you may see something a little off. There we can see the ever so faint outline of a person sitting on the facade right next to Snow White and of course her dwarves and animal friends. Now we can kind of rule out double exposure on this one because the figure sits there and moves with the camera instead of disappearing or staying in the same spot and position no matter where the camera moves to. Now, unlike on the Haunted Mansion or Space Mountain, people have died at Disneyland. I'm not going to whitewash that fact away. Maybe this spirit just wanted to get a better view of the meet and greets, or perhaps this is a hoax after all. A similar sort of video can be found with this specter enjoying the nighttime fireworks. Now, is this just a fireworks technician enjoying their handiwork while the show is going on? No. One, it's probably very dangerous to be up on top of the castle like that while the fireworks are happening, and two, this definitely ruins the show, and by ruining the show I mean it sort of breaks the Disney magic, the Disney illusion. But there's also the fact that no one else is pointing at or freaking out about the man standing on top of the castle during the fireworks like I would expect there would be, so maybe this is another double exposure? Perhaps a superimposed Happy Haunt standing on top of the castle? I don't know. Ask Captain Disillusion, I'm sure he knows. So at the end of the day, you must ask yourself, is Disneyland a place where millions and millions of people have visited over the years haunted? It certainly is a place of a lot of emotions and memories, so maybe that carries with it some sort of ethereal energy. I'm not a ghost expert though. Don't look at me like I'm a ghost expert because I'm not. But maybe, just maybe, when you're slowly filtering out of Disneyland at the end of the night, walking through, let's say, Fantasyland, and you see the translucent outline of a man standing on top of the castle, think to yourself, maybe, for 1 second, maybe that's not a maintenance worker. Why would he be translucent anyway? And maybe, just maybe, the legends about the happiest place on earth being haunted are more than just legends. Hello everyone, thank you all so much for watching this video remake of Ghost Sightings at Disneyland. If you're interested in watching the original that I uploaded a while ago, the link will be in the description down below to check that out. It's a little lower quality, not great, but not too bad. I'm pretty proud of it. You gotta answer the question for yourselves. Is Disneyland really haunted? Me? I honestly think maybe. Is any of the evidence provided in this video compelling to me? Not really, but hey, you never really know. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and if you want more updates and more videos like this, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and ring the bell icon so you can be notified as soon as these videos go live. Guys, the bell is the most important thing here. I also recently did a live stream, which I will link in the description down below if you're interested in watching, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram, I will also link those below for you fine folks to check out. And as always, if you want early access to videos like this one, even just $1 on my Patreon will get you access to most of the perks. Very big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. You guys help keep the world going round. I hope you know that. A little bit of an early Halloween video for you guys here today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hopefully will have some more Haunted Mansion content out before the end of the year. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.